program to give me the go live button, which it doesn't do very easily. There we go.
No worries.
Technology is sometimes so wonderful, and sometimes it's like, why is everything this complicated? So, hi everybody, I'm Heather Vickery, and I am back for another live hot seat coaching session, this time with my friend Rachel. Rachel, will you tell folks who you are and what you do, and we'll get started.
Yeah, Rachel, I live just about an hour north of Boston. I do a lot of things. I'm a mom of 2 boys and a stepmom to 2 girls. So 18, 15, 12, and 9.
I feel that. That's very close to mine. We're
Yeah.
19, almost 18, 14, and 11. So
it can be overwhelming, but that's the silver lining of divorce is actually that they get to go to their dad's house sometimes. So that's very nice.
Well, I love it when we, in some cases, say the quiet part out loud.
Yeah, I will say that to any of my friends who are considering it. Anyways, and then I run 2 businesses. I do consulting for financial technology companies, and I run my own financial planning business. I'm a certified financial planner. And so I work mainly with progressive Gen Y and Gen X, not Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z women and their partners to help them make financial progress.
I love that. We need that. We need that support. I'm staunchly a Gen Xer, and I don't feel like most of us got any financial guidance of any kind. I mean, maybe there were pockets, maybe you had parents who were really savvy and they supported you, but most of us, like, that was not a conversation we ever had.
Exactly. So, that's why I do what I do. I did it because I didn't get taught good skills growing up. So here we are, 20 plus years of doing this later. And I've learned a lot. I will tell you also, it's easier for me to tell somebody else what to do than to do it myself. So I have my own planner as well.
Yeah, that's the same. All good coaches have coaches, all good mentors have mentors. So yeah, I love that. I think that's always a really good sign when you're going to hire somebody else. Make sure that they also get continued support in the thing that they're that they're selling you. Sorry, brain is fuzzy. We're going to blame it on perimenopause today.
Itchy ears lately. Itchy ears.
So the itchy ears. I just learned about that. Itchy ears and itchy eyes on Thread. I did not know until this year. We are not at all doing the thing we said we were going to do here, but this is a great conversation. That is wild. Like, we don't talk about any stuff. Anyway. So Rachel, will you share with me and with anybody who's tuning in what you would like to focus on in our time here together today?
Yeah. So I mentioned to you before that I kind of have this feeling inside, especially as I hit 40 a couple years ago, that I'm like on the verge of something big. I feel like I'm almost ready to just let it loose, let this best, most brilliant self loose that I know I have inside of me, especially in my area of passion, which is financial planning. But things come up and they get in the way. I have ADHD, I have some anxiety. Those 2 things usually go hand in hand. And then I end up in this sort of fight, flight, freeze, fawn mode. So I pick freeze or flight. Those are my 2 favorites. And I do those things instead of working towards what I know I want to do, which for me really is I have this vision of myself being able to create some sort of life-changing personal finance methods that will affect like huge portions of the population, not just the people that come and see me. So that's sort of the thing right now, is this feeling that I know I have it in me. And I find moments where I get to release it. And then I also find these moments where either distractions or anxiety, fear kick in, and then I'm like stuck and I can't do the thing that I know that I'm actually able to do.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. So I'm curious, I have a few questions for you. One is, why does the work that you want to be doing matter?
Why does it matter? I mean, finance affects everyone, right? Personal finance and money. We live in a capitalist, late stage capitalism system, money is the primary form of power
Yeah.
in most people's lives. I was just leading a workshop on anti-capitalist financial planning, and we realized like there's so many things you just still have to do with money that personal finance becomes sort of the central core thing of, if you can figure this out, then so many other things in your life are going to get smoothed out and be easier for you. And my hope is that the people who have traditionally not held that power get more of it. And so we can, I don't want to say empower because I don't like that word. It's more like unleashing the power that they already have inside of them to do the right thing.
I love that. I always say that empowerment is inside work. We can't give somebody empowerment. When they do the work for themselves, they become empowered. So I appreciate that. Is there any part of you that doubts your ability to do this work and make this difference?
I think a small part, and that's just because growing up with ADHD undiagnosed, right? I was a great student, but I always just did only what the teachers requested, which got me excellent grades. Please don't like assume that I was off in La La Land. I was masking very well, but I only ever just did what was required. I always knew that I had more in me, but I never went beyond because that would have required like deadlines or knowing that somebody needed this from me, or I don't know. I always just did the minimum that I needed to do. And this feels more of like, not just the minimum. I could be a totally decent financial planner and help change a lot of people's lives as the minimum. But I want to go beyond that. So there's this part of me that's like sort of proven to myself by some actions earlier in life before I was being treated for this, that I wouldn't do this, and I haven't done it. So yes, there is a part of me that is like believes that maybe I can't unless I get the help and support that I need to kind of overcome that like lack of dopamine that I don't get when I finish a task. So there's a lot, and I've tried things in place, but
no, I love that. So what I'm hearing you say is that patterned behavior is just do the thing you need to do to get by and be recognized and be appreciated. Don't draw attention to yourself. Don't make it too hard, right? And then the other thing I heard that you didn't say, so tell me if I've got this right or if I haven't, is that there's a little bit too much at risk if you go beyond that.
Sometimes, yes. Because I am definitely a people pleaser, and I always am trying to, I'm always worried that people aren't going to be happy with me. I'm going to let them down. I've let a lot of people down in my life, which everybody does. But it's always this fear of letting people down, right? And I have maybe a bigger fear of letting other people down than even of myself, than letting myself down.
Yeah. I feel that, and I see that, and I hear that from a lot of people. It's just so much easier to put the focus on everyone else than it is on us. Yeah. Excellent. Well, so I would love to share your human design chart with you. Are you familiar with human design? Okay. So you know that you're a pure generator, which, tells me immediately before I even look at anything else that you have mad doer skills. You get shit done. Which is great. I'm going to take off this because we can't see. I have this little banner, but it's messing with us right now. We can't see the bottom of your chart. And so, folks, the way I can tell that Rachel is a generator is because there's a defined sacral and there is not something attached to the throat, which is required for a manifesting generator. So we know that she's a generator. What I love about human design is that it's so much about sort of understanding ourselves better. And there is something that every client I work with, it seems to unlock when we tell you, this is how you're designed. And it's not just, this is the thing I'm trying to do, but it's the
Mhm.
thing that you're built to do,
Yeah.
something sort of shifts
Yeah. Yep. Mhm.
in that space. So a
Yeah.
couple of things come to mind with this specific. I know I could be doing this thing. I should be doing this thing. If I were doing this thing beyond the bare minimum, I would be blowing the top off of it.
Yeah.
Um, the first thing that calls out to me is your defined G center, which is I picked the little heart design, even though this throws people off because the heart will ego is the smaller triangle over to the side, but I just think the little sense of self G center heart is so cute.
Yeah.
Um, this tells me that you know exactly what you're here to do in the world. That it never, right? You don't question that. You know it. It's
Yep.
roll with it. You're never in doubt. That doesn't mean that you can't get unaligned and have
Yeah.
doubt. So it's good because this isn't your issue. Knowing you're on the right track, not your problem.
Yeah.
What sometimes I think can be tricky for people with a defined G center is that you have a direct sense to the divine and it's
Mm.
you. You are the source for
Hmm.
success. You are the source for the answers.
Okay.
How does it feel to hear that?
Like 5 or 10 years ago, I would have fought that tooth and nail coming from a
Yeah.
really, like, religious background, evangelical Christian background.
Yes.
No
Yeah.
one else is the source but God, right? There's no good in me apart from God, all of those things. And I've done a lot
Mhm.
of deprogramming around that over the
Good.
past 5 or 10 years.
Good.
So even now, like I actually went and did level 1 Reiki certification,
Oh, I
so
love that.
even which is amazing and it's been so helpful. And so sometimes I'll do either Reiki on myself or some like chakra meditations and things like that. And so in my mind's eye, yes, I am connecting to source, right? When I'm doing that. But a lot of times lately, I'm like, well, I'm not sure what I believe anymore. Source could be whatever you define it to be, right? And so
That's right.
I'm really not surprised to hear that. And
Mhm.
I generally am the kind of person that I make decisions pretty quickly and I stick with them. So like I
Yep.
don't mind being the one who is like coming up with the idea.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Well, so with your defined sacral, it's either hell yes or a fuck no. Have you done the work to know physically what your yes and no is?
I have. And actually, I think it's because of a friend of mine who was getting really into human design and she encouraged me to do this exercise of like yes and no and really feel it in my body. So
Good.
she lives near Vancouver. I was driving back to Seattle. I had like 2 or 3 hours in the car to practice it. And
Love
I
it.
really discovered, yes, my yes is this like feeling right below my rib cage. It's sort of like in between my heart
Mm,
and my solar plexus, like right in between the two. And then my no is definitely in my gut, like very sacral. So when it's a
beautiful.
no, I have this very strong feeling in my gut. And then when it's a yes, it's sort of this like excited, anxious-y feeling, but not really, right
Mhm.
between my solar plexus and my heart. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So knowing that is huge. Um, game changer. If you are out there and you have a defined sacral, your hell yes or your fuck no, there's no maybe. And so what's fascinating to me about this particular issue that you've come to the room with today, I wonder how much is in your head telling you you're supposed to be doing something specific versus what is right for you. And that's coming from me for two different parts of your chart. One is you have a defined spleen,
Okay.
and although it's not your authority, you do have that extra level of intuition. I'm a splenic
Mhm.
authority.
Okay.
So the spleen is the oldest known anthropological safety mechanism in our
Hmm.
body,
Okay.
and it is what tells you danger, danger, danger.
Mm.
Don't do that. So if you've ever had an experience where you're out and you're walking around and all of a sudden you just know you're supposed to turn left, but you thought you were going to turn right and you're like, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm doing this. Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah.
That's your
Mhm.
spleen. It's
Yeah.
your spleen telling your body, hold on, that's not safe. Don't go that way. And
Interesting.
so what I'm curious, and I don't know. It's just something for you to explore and play with, and hopefully come back and let me know. But I'm wondering if some of the things that you think you're supposed to be doing are maybe not a hell yes, and your
Mhm.
spleen is like, but because you think you're supposed to do it, you feel like you're not pushing yourself in the right direction.
It's yeah, that I will have to reflect on that for a while, but I'm sure it's possible. Like, I'll give you an example. I really thought I needed to do a newsletter for my financial planning business, right? And
Yeah. Yep.
I had a graphic designer help me build out the template. I was working on a list of topics. And every time I went to write something for it, I just was like, ugh, I can't do it. Ugh.
Yeah.
It's just like this gross feeling. And I
Yeah.
could not do it. And it's been over a year and a half now since I launched my business, and I never actually wrote a newsletter.
Yep.
And then I realized just this, like in the past 2 months, that I'm never going to do it because something in me just like really doesn't want to write a newsletter. I don't know why, even though I think I should. So
Mhm.
instead, I worked on writing a blog post, which I happen to be able to cross post with Becky Mollenkamp's
Yes.
post as well.
Perfect.
And so it went into my own blog. And then like that felt really good. And I was like, oh, I could just write one blog post. It doesn't have to be long. It could be really
That's
long or
right.
really short. And then I could just notify people that I put it up. And then it was more of like a hell yes.
I love
That's
that.
exactly it.
Yes. That's a great example. And so it might be worth maybe making a little list of these items that you think you're sabotaging yourself on and having
Mm,
that conversation. Is
yeah.
this actually the thing for me? And is there another way to do something similar? Can I come at
Mhm.
this from another angle? And when I look at your channels, you actually have the channel of struggle, which people tend to freak out a little bit about. But the channel of struggle simply means that you know what is worth fighting for and what is not worth fighting for.
Mm,
And you're here to learn that all transformational ideas require the quote unquote work if they're going to be useful and be endearing and stick around.
mhm.
Um, so feeling struggle
Yeah.
isn't counter to your human design.
Yeah.
What you do with the struggle is really the gift. Okay, well, so what
Mhm.
is the lesson in the struggle?
Mhm.
Um, and you also have the channel of discovery, which is this natural capacity to surrender
Okay.
and to overcome.
Yeah.
And it literally says here for you to avoid devoting yourself to the wrong things in order to prove that you're worthy or good enough. And again, so I'm seeing this all layer out, right?
That's so funny. I literally was just doing like hypnotherapy around that subject last
Oh,
year.
yeah. Amazing. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. And then the last channel you have here is the channel of power, which is, and this is connected um, to your spleen, which I mentioned earlier. It, embracing patience, waiting for the right moment to show up and share what you know, trusting in that timing. And so, with all of that in mind, and
Yep.
all of these amazing things that you want to do, and
Yep.
that I know you are doing,
Yeah.
my question to you is: what is one uh, thought or pattern or behavior that you know would serve you better into stepping up into this, not necessarily to make you into motion on the things that you think you're freezing
Yeah.
on, because
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's the right answer for you, but that
Yes.
would help you get to what you're looking for.
That's a that is a good question. I'm trying to think of like what it's hard to think about these things on the fly, right?
I know.
I yeah. So, okay, let me talk this out. You're asking me what thing could we work on? Can you repeat the question for me again, just so that I like?
Yeah, for sure. It was a bit of a wordy thing. So
Okay.
it could either be a limiting voice or a pattern of behavior, or even a negative state that if it shifted on a subconscious level would sort of free you to look at these things a little differently and get beyond whatever is keeping you from taking this next step.
I think a big part of all of this for me is always what other people think about
Mm,
me, and it has since I was very young.
yeah.
Probably a little bit influenced by an upbringing in church all the time, and like, what does God think of you? Am I going to heaven or am I going to hell? So this is like really deeply ingrained in me in general. This is a thing that I work on often, and I think that also shows up with what other people think about me. And so I wonder if I give less of a fuck the older I get, right? Because the
Yes.
older I get,
Yes. It's
the
my favorite thing
less
about being older.
and it like I think just that has made such a big difference already. And if I could lean
Mm,
into that more, if I could lean into not worrying what other people think, but doing what I know, like I think, or my intuition tells me to do, I think that
okay.
would change a lot of the like things that I'm freezing or fighting about, actually.
Yeah. I love that. So would you say there are sort of two parts of you at play here? The people pleasing part of you and the zero fucks part of you, or we could call that part something else, whatever.
I
Do
mean,
they fight each other?
yeah, they do. And yes, it's funny because it's like there's so many areas where I feel really confident and not caring anymore. And then there's a lot of areas where I'm still really conscientious of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I
So
love that.
yeah.
So I have a subconscious reprogramming modality that I think would be fun to play with you on, which is called parts integration. And
Okay.
so recognizing that both of those parts of you exist, they're part of the whole, and they serve you and how they can support one another. Would you
Mhm.
like to play with that with me?
Sure. That sounds
All
fun.
right.
Let's do it.
Excellent. So before we go into that, I just want to remind you and anybody who might be watching that none of the NLP work, none of the subconscious reprogramming work, I can't make you do anything. It's all you, and your subconscious mind is never going to do anything that it
Yeah.
feels unsafe doing. And you had mentioned that you did some subliminal hypnosis work or some hypnosis work, so you're familiar with this. But in case anybody's watching, I have no magical powers over Rachel. This is all she's driving the bus here. So, um, is it all right with your unconscious mind, Rachel, for you to integrate these two parts today and for you to be aware of it consciously?
Yes, I hope so.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, if the answer is no, then we won't do it. It feels good.
Yes.
Okay, so the way this works is I need you to hold your palms up where I can see them.
Okay.
Bring them a little bit closer.
I'm gonna
That'll,
bring my chair
it,
up a little
there
too.
you go. That'll help a little.
Okay.
Okay, excellent, great. And so we're going to start with the part of you that you don't love, the people pleasing part of you.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I wonder if I can talk to the part of you that wants to please people all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. Which hand would you like to be that part of you?
I would say my right hand.
Okay, excellent. And would that part like to stand on the tips of your fingers or on the palm of your hand?
Palm.
Okay. Can you tell me what this people pleasing part of you looks like?
Ooh. Yeah, I mean, it's so materialistic, but she has blowout, full face
Mm,
makeup, self tanner. It's like, the side of me that I want everyone to see me as.
yeah. And what does this part sound like?
Mm, um, intelligent, sophisticated, not like a high pitched voice necessarily, but maybe a more pleasing, lower pitched female voice.
Oh, interesting. Excellent. And what does this part feel like?
I don't know. It feels a little bit like a mask. It feels
Mm,
like kind of fake and yet at the same time, like I know it's part of me. So
yeah.
yeah, a little tiny bit inauthentic.
Ooh, okay. Now, does this part look like anyone you recognize?
And no, I don't think so.
Okay. And what's this part's name?
I I mean, I just think it's Rachel.
Okay, that's okay. All
Yeah.
right, excellent. So I'd also like to talk to the part of you that's most in conflict with this people-pleasing Rachel. The
Mm,
flip side of the coin, the opposite number, the version that doesn't give a fuck, the zero fucks given
yep,
version. And
yep,
so if that part of you could come out onto your left palm,
yep.
would it like to stand on your fingertips or the tip of the palm of your hand?
The palm.
Okay, excellent. Um, can you tell me what this part of you looks like?
This part has her hair in a bun with crazy tendrils sticking out all over the place and yoga pants or shorts and like a comfy sweatshirt.
Mm, I love it. And what does she sound like?
Whatever she wants to.
Yeah. What does she feel like?
She feels grounded and like free, but not in the sense of a bird, like just free and autonomous.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah.
Free and autonomous. Excellent.
Yeah.
Does this version, this person, this part of you resemble anybody you know?
I don't necessarily think so, but like an image that pops into my head is that of my stepdaughter who is turning 18.
I love that.
Yeah.
Excellent. And does this part of you, the zero fucks part of you, have a name?
I think it's just Rachel as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. So from now on, we're going to the part of you on your right hand is Rachel 1, and the part of you on your left hand is Rachel 2, since
Okay.
we have the same name, if that works for you.
Yep.
Yep. And so for what purpose does Rachel 1 exist?
Rachel one is the face that like oh, how do I put this into words? That the world most easily accepts.
Mm,
She looks like what they want someone to look like. And so it
yeah,
like makes the path a little smoother and easier because she looks like what everyone wants her to and what people expect. And also, I don't know, there all the connotations that come with beauty or weight or things like societal expectations of what someone should look like.
yeah. What is Rachel 1's highest intention?
Highest intention to, I think it's, I don't know. I'm trying to just like let answers come to me, but they're not really. Maybe to protect in a way, to, yeah, I would say protect and make sure that Rachel, myself, is taken seriously.
Ooh, yeah. And for what reason does she need to protect you?
Um, to make sure, well, to make sure that I'm heard and listened to, and also to make sure that I don't get rejected and I don't end up alone.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
So let's talk to Rachel 2 on your left hand.
Okay.
What is her highest intention?
um, to do what I am meant to do in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. And why does that matter?
That is what I am here for. Like that's my purpose in this world is whatever this Rachel wants to do and accomplish.
Yeah. Do these parts notice that they were once part of a larger whole?
I don't know if they do. Yeah.
Are there any other parts of you that want to join in this integration?
I feel like there's always so many parts of me that want to join in. So I'm
Good.
sure, yes. I
Okay.
just don't know if I can name them for you.
That's okay. If one comes to mind, feel free to share it and we can invite them in. I'm curious, Rachel 1, people
Yeah.
pleasing Rachel, what resources does she have that Rachel 2 would like access to?
Oh. The ability for people to take her seriously and listen, and to feel confident walking into a room.
I
I
love that.
think, yeah.
And what resources does Rachel 2 have that Rachel 1 wants?
Um, Less anxiety, the
Yeah.
ability to like just not worry about things and to do what she knows to do whenever
I
she knows
love that.
it.
I wonder if you've noticed that your hands have started moving closer together.
That's funny. I hadn't
You
noticed
didn't
yet.
notice it. So that's my sign that your subconscious is ready for the 2 of them to meet, and so I'm gonna
Okay.
invite you now to put them on top of each other
Okay.
and to move into your heart center and just gently push and merge these 2 pieces into the wholeness inside of you. Take a big deep breath in. And now, Rachel, can you tell me if you can imagine a time in the future
Mhm.
where Rachel 1 is people pleasing and getting in the way of Rachel 2's confidence and causing too much anxiety? That's what used to happen. What happens now?
I think maybe just a moment of pause and reflection to understand why, and then make the choice for myself of whether I want that or not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you. I hope that you'll let me know
Yeah.
how that goes for you.
Yeah. That is really interesting. Thank you for walking me through that. I don't know that I have done that exercise before, and I'm excited to see what comes from it.
Yeah, me too. You're so welcome.
Yeah.
Well, I am gonna turn off the live stream
Okay.
now and then touch base with you privately, but thank you so much
Yeah.
for doing this out loud in public with me so we
Yeah.
can give folks a little taste of the work that I'm doing, one-on-one and also in the Accelerator, which starts next week. So if anybody you wanna get in on this action, let's do it. So thank you so much, Rachel.
Amazing, Heather. Thank you.